My name is Soren Hammer Pedersen. I'm country director in the great company Sympa, and Sympa is a company that provides a cloud HR system, meaning a system that can assist a company with all processes relating to employee data, to HR processes in the entire employee lifecycle. I am the manager of the Danish company within Sympa. I have worked with Sympa since 2016, but I actually always have a background in management consultancy where I have worked in cooperation with HR. So always providing services and advice and guidance to HR department my whole career. And that's what I do as well today. On the personal side, I'm a Generation Y. I like to say this because then I just crept in with the digital natives. If you meet me on a digital platform, you will find out that's a lie, because people coming out of school now are so much better than me. But from the generation perspective anyway, I'm there, and my real job, of course, is being a father of 3 and a husband of 1. So this is the side gig, sorry. So that's me. Good. Let's dig into it. Paperless HR, and I will be giving you a Danish perspective here on this. Today I have to remember to this mic. It's really annoying, so when I forget, you just raise your hand and I'll do something else. No, I'll use a Danish perspective because paperless HR is different in every country. Countries have had a large focus on, in some countries, virtually nothing. But I'll try to use the Danish angle. And the first question you might have, rightfully so, is what is paperless HR? That might be a good thing to know. And there are many definitions. The ones we use is this one. A system with everything you need to digitally manage your HR process and data in the entire employee life cycle. And what do I mean by that? And if you can see here, the life cycle as we define is down here, from recruiting through getting people into the company, all the data, all the development, and of course saying goodbye to people again in a good way in the end. Being truly paperless in HR, meaning finding out which processes do we have in each of these steps, and how can we, with a digital mindset, work with these processes that we have. So it's not a question of finding, okay, we have some Excel sheet we use to use in our onboarding. How can we put that in the cloud, and then we have the same Excel sheet in the cloud, and now we're digital? Yeah, but have you achieved that much? No, it's taking a mindset. Okay, what are the new possibilities when we go digital? What are the new building blocks that we can use here to actually work smarter, faster, but also engage our work processes to be more motivating, to be more easier for our employees? So a big task you probably never get done, but many Danish companies has taken this quite far already. It has been a big focus, I would say, the last 2 or 3 years, and let me just give you some insights here to what is the status in Denmark at the moment, and how did they get there. So a few slides about that. Oh, that jumps one. I'm not friend with this one. So the current state in Denmark regarding paperless HR and moving all the HR processes to the cloud is quite good. Many companies have this focus. If you take the very large companies in Denmark, they will virtually all of them have a full-blown HR system now covering all their processes. So for their sake, it's more how can we further develop this, or should we shift to someone else and things like that. Then we have the middle part of the company. Many of them have HR systems, but also many of them have partly a system. So they would have bought a recruiting system or a talent management system and never really connected the dots here in these between these systems. So they have something, but are they really truly paperless? No, you can't say that. But they have gone somewhere in the path. And then there is the last part, which has done virtually nothing. And of course, we love to talk to them in Sympa, because they're just beginning their journey, and we can really help them quite easy, quite quick to get started on this. It's not an HR decision anymore in Denmark to have an HR system. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is legislation coming out, and the other is that we are actually in many companies beginning to see the value. So the business cases that we see in each company coming out on the HR and actually get it to the board of directors, they actually get approved, and they actually get the budget now. They see the value, and I come back to what it has actually happened now. What we also see is that the early adapters, the one that started it all, they're looking for new systems now and new processes, because they took the first cloud systems that were there, and some of them need updating. And the same category of companies learned a couple of lessons really the hard way in Denmark. But it's looking good at the moment, and we have achieved quite a lot. So what have we gained as an average in Denmark? The companies, the return on investment, the increased efficiency within the company is the most important thing that companies has gained. There's a lot of processes within HR that can be either manual, paper-based, or can be digitalized. And I think if you go into details with a couple of them, which I will later on, then you can see that we can work smarter here. So just sheer finance here is the most important thing that people have gained through this. Then we had a lot of the EU coming out with the GDPR, the legislation around data security. That has been a massive driving force in Denmark for having this discussion, because a board of directors, they had to be compliant. There's no way around it. You have to abide by this legislation, and an HR system or HR process is a great way to get there. So that has been a massive driving force as well. Of course, the sheer access to data is also something that people have really have an emphasis on in Denmark, because if you have data just lying around in your, of course on your computer, but in many cases just on paper and in archives and things like that, who has access to that data, and where are it, and are it safe, and when should we delete it, and all those things. Put it into a digital world, we can make sure that the right people have access at the right time. We know when to delete it. We know that we only edit it once. We don't have to put in people's titles 10 times, because we all know what's happened then into the system. And then again, integrations as a really thing that's just increasing in emphasis in Denmark at the moment. Because we are not implementing standalone systems anymore. We have to look into each company's IT landscape to find out how to connect the dots. Because when we get a new employee into a company, how many systems do we need to put that employee into, and how many errors do we do along the way when we put in the data? Quite a lot, probably. No, we should put it in once, in one system, and that should just spread to everywhere else where we need it. So only be able to edit it once. Sounds simple. It's so difficult in real life to achieve it in a company, but we're getting there. We're really getting there. And of course, the last point, hard to put into money, but the user experience. When your employees comes into your company, are you a modern digital company working, a nice user interface, everything's digital, I can find whatever I want, I can do whatever I want in this system, or am I presented with notes and Excel files and random things? What are the two different perceptions we have here? That's quite different, and we want to keep our talent in this. So these are some of the things that, in looking back, the Danish companies has used to get the budget, basically. These are the things that were in the business cases that made sure that they could buy these solutions up front. Will this change? Well, some of it, because a very relevant question, or at least I think so, would be this. How would the Danish company get the next budget? And this might be relevant for some of you, because going into, okay, I want to actually get money for this. So three topics is going to be, and again, sorry for the Danish perspective, but bear with me, will in Denmark be the crucial things in the coming couple of years. One is so hard to verbalize in the business case. but it is going to be important. People and talent. Because you, as HR, has to go into the manager and say, yes, we would like to have this system because we would like to keep our people and we want to attract the right people. And he will say, show me the money, basically. But that doesn't change the fact that this is a vital thing for Danish company goes forward. There's really a struggle for the right talents in Denmark at the moment. And if you're in the recruiting process with a new potential employer and you are facing mail-based recruiting process, or even just calling each other and can you send me this on paper and things like that, okay, that makes you think what kind of company is I'm walking into, and that make you decide another one. Same if you are an employee, like the example I just gave. If you want to stay in a company, you want to be among the best, and among the best they go digital. Another really exciting area that's developing really, really fast now is reporting. And here we're starting to get into the CEO's mind a bit, because they like reports, they like KPIs and things like that. Just here is one of my favorite quotes. I skate to where the puck is going to be, not where it has been. And that is a very, very good example on where reporting is heading at the moment, because it's not about just making an average of sick leave or something like that. It's actually predicting what the sick leave is going to be and acting on it before we get there. And that's what's happening big time in Denmark at the moment. People are using cloud system to gather all their data and then advanced BI tools to really start predicting where to drive their company. And this is only getting bigger as we go along. And sorry to say, the last one, still show me the money. You need, if you want this budget, you need to find those processes within your company where you can save money. That would save you, in my best guess, 2 years' time arguing with the CEO, if you can do that. If you go in with the employee engagement, nothing wrong with that. Stress that quite a lot. Only employee engagement, you will have to wait. That's just the name of the game. So actually what we do sometimes, just to give you a little insight to that, we actually sometimes, when people are finding it hard to get the budget, we do proof of concepts. So we actually find that process within a company that we can digitalize and really show, okay, you used 2 people for this 3 months ago, now we can do it within a half maybe. And we show it live in the system, on their own data. And then you get the budget quite fast, because then you can see, okay, how long would you waste this money instead of having a discussion around some happy place we might end up in. I'm just telling you how CEOs are. You know this already, probably. And sorry for all the CEOs in the room, if there are any. So those are the 3 main points to get the budget. So once you have the budget, what do you do then? Well, I would like to give you 3 examples on how you can actually digitalize, or at least I will verbalize the examples. Some of the process, I showed you the whole employee life cycle here. I won't go through that. I'll give you 3 concrete examples where people actually save money. First one is not that one. It's that one. Digital contract management sounds impressive. What it means in real life is that when we come out to a client, especially in larger companies, I was in a couple of weeks ago in a 1,000 employee company in Denmark. They had a fully employed, full-time employer only making contracts in that company. Only thing she did was make contracts to new employees or employees who shifted position. That's quite a lot. So why is this interesting? It is because if we take it into the digital data flow, okay, and say, which building blocks can we use here to make this smarter? Okay, we have the building blocks of actually making the template, the contract that we need signed. Okay, why not have your 10, 15 templates within the system? You just choose the one you want, the system draws in the data automatically and you're ready to go. If you, on top of that, then put e-signing. So instead of you having to download that, put it in some email, find a scanner, hope they have a scanner somewhere too to get the signature back. No, let's integrate to an e-signing. Let's just push it out through the HR system. They go into their whole signing flow, first the manager, then the employee, and it comes back to the system and you're done. So instead of having to handle all that manual process, what this person now has to do is pick the right template, fill in some information around emails and who's signing, send it, and she's done. That's quite amazing. They were quite happy when we told them this, I would say. So digital workflow or digital contract management, definitely an area to look into in many, many companies. Another one is workflows. And workflow is a very broad term here, meaning, okay, when we, for example, get a new employee into the company, what happens then? Nothing, or do we do something automatic here? Hopefully we do the last thing. What should happen, just to give you an example of the workflow, is that HR or an admin person puts in first day of hire for this employee into the system. That information should trigger a lot of workflows. It should trigger IT getting message, okay, we need this at this stage, this phone, this Wi-Fi, this seat. It should make sure that there's flowers when you show up. It should tell the colleagues, the managers, everything should happen automatically just by putting in this one date. And just that building block of having a workflow can be used in so many processes around in an HR world, because we have so many of those where we need to remember that on the 17th of something we need to do something. No, why not have the system remember that we need to do something at that point? And finally, the boring one, the integrations. Not the prettiest slide in the whole world, but an important one anyway. Automated data flows. We can't just take an HR system and put it into your world and say, good luck. We have to look at the IT landscape within your company. How do we fit in? How become a value and not a nuisance to your company? And we can only do this by having integration. So what we have is that we, of course, we are so arrogant, so we put HR system in the middle. They would probably disagree. But we're in the middle, and through our APIs and things like that, and automated data flows, we transfer the data. In real life, that means we only put in data once. Put it in, and then we transfer it to payroll. We transfer it to time registration, whoever needed within the company. Also, internal system, we transfer the data. And we sometimes get something back from them if we need them in one system. So here, of course, IT plays a vital part, but it's not that difficult in real life once we get into it. But it's an important thing to remember. If you really want your benefits from your paperless HR, it has to be paperless to everybody else as well. It's not only the HR system we're putting in. Cliffhanger. You stayed. I'm glad. Oh, most of you. I saw a couple leave. Best advice to get started, and I promise now it will be corny, so bear with me. But still good advice. First advice. You can't spell superhero without HR. It's not only an HR project, an IT project. What do I mean by that? One of the biggest pitfalls we have seen in Denmark is that it's become solely an IT project to be paperless in HR. That's rubbish. Who knows the processes? Who knows how the workflow is? IT don't, but they can make sure that we are a secure cloud provider and all those things, and it works with your Active Directories and all those things. You have to remember that it's a corporation, and if you end up in a situation where you are going forward only as an IT project, I would say that you have a pretty good chance of failure. We have an example in Denmark now from a huge company that has pulled the plug on their HR system the day before they went live with it, because it was an IT system. It didn't work in real life. Point one, that's a very brave decision for anyone to make. Point two, it's a catastrophe for that company that they had to go there. They forgot that it had to work in real life. So please, please remember that one. And last advice, think big, start small. Again, corny advice, I know, but it's important. It's really, really important. You have to have that vision. Okay, if we go into this, let's say it's here we want to end up, but you start here. You get the core up and running, you get the employee data up and running, you get all the integrations in place, you get some of the development, and then you go live with that, and then you have the managers and employees see the real values of the system, and then you slowly develop from there. The road to hell is paved with HR system trying to be big in one big bang. It doesn't work really well in practice. Last is a thank you slide, of course. Let's not stop here. You're more than welcome to connect. You're more than welcome to come over. My really, really sweet Sympa colleagues are just behind the ice screen down there. Come by us, say hi. Other than that, I hope you had a fun 20 minutes anyway. And please feel free to ask questions if you have any.